They came for then Commissioner of Police, James Filbert, and then Commander of the Defense Force, Roland Mondi, and then Peter Joseph of the SIA of SORT. And people did not speak out because they were not members of the security services. Then they came for Fazir Mohammed, Denise Wren, Sunati Maraj, and Asha Javid. And people said nothing because they were not members of the media. Then they came for the over 3,000 contract workers, and people said nothing because they were not contract workers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they have come for every one of us. And if we let them win this election and do not speak out and do not vote them out, they will destroy each and every one of us in Trinidad and Tobago. They have either destroyed or tainted every single institution in Trinidad and Tobago. Every single institution. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the media. Look at the media today. They have converted state-owned CNMG into a political forum for the UNC, a state-owned media house. And they are therefore paying persons with state funds to bad talk the PNM. Can you believe that? And ladies and gentlemen, that is not all. There are paid UNC bloggers who have been consistently attacking the media. And not that just the media as a whole. Female journalists are under attack by this UNC government through their bloggers. And ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to join with me in calling on those bloggers to stop that attack on the female journalists. Stop the use of state money to attack journalists. I call on those journalists to stand up for their rights. Go to the police and report these attacks because they are unrelenting and they will continue unabated. Ladies and gentlemen, I say this as the chairman of the Women's League of the PNM, that strong arm of the PNM that says to you tonight that those female journalists must be protected by us, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And ladies and gentlemen, as I talk protection, I ask you to understand the unethical conduct of this UNC government. And our party takes this opportunity to draw to the attention of the council responsible for political conduct the not so subtle introduction of ethnic profiling and other profiling into the current election campaign by the United National Congress. And we note a continuing campaign by Kamla Prasad Bisesa and her deputy political leader, Rudal Munilal, to denigrate our political leader. Up to last night, they had a banner saying, "Hide your children from Rowley." Ladies and gentlemen, while we of the PNM are prepared for the give and take that are part of any electoral contest, we consider such signs and language to be beyond the pale of a civilized political campaign and in direct contradiction to the code of ethical political conduct to which both parties are signatories. Ladies and gentlemen, it must be noted that our political leader is Tobagonian. Our political leader routinely travels between Trinidad and Tobago, and there has not been a single report to the police that he has ever assaulted a female flight attendant. Ladies and gentlemen, our political leader has been a member of parliament since 1986, and no constituent has ever accused him of demanding sexual favors in the performance of his duty. Ladies and gentlemen, our political leader has never been reported to the police for having any altercations with young females that would bring his office into disrepute. Ladies and gentlemen, our political leader has been a cabinet member for much of that time between 1986 and now, and no state board chairman has ever had cause to refer him to the Prime Minister for allegations of sexual harassment. That is our political leader, ladies and gentlemen. And when the UNC has a banner that says, "Hide your children from Rowley," I ask them tonight to look at what this UNC government has done to our country under the first female Prime Minister, under Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Look at the legal profession and the justice system. Today, it is dangerous to be a witness because you will come under attack from the Prime Minister. And lawful attorneys cannot represent members of the PNM because they too will come under attack from the Prime Minister. Look at our Police Service Commission. It has become toothless. The Teaching Service Commission, toothless. The Integrity Commission has come under question. Every single institution. Look at our parliament. Our right-thinking citizens have become concerned about the speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the presidency has come under scrutiny under this government. Every single institution, even the institution of the family. Because in this government, family does not matter. Is wife beaters, is girlfriend slappers, is fondling of airline workers' breasts, is fondling of male constituents' nipples, is fondling of female constituents and forcing them to perform lewd sexual acts for favors, is mothers and grandmothers who are drunk and disorderly. The family is under threat under this government. Every single institution has been destroyed. And these atrocities have occurred under the so-called boss, under the so-called queen, Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And they have the audacity to talk about our political leader. It is our political leader who follows the letter of the law in all matters, who has a history of fighting and eliminating corruption. Look at the Piarco Airport scandal. Our political leader was the architect of the UF Commission. It was our political leader standing for integrity that resulted in the historic resignation of the entire Integrity Commission after a court of law found them guilty of procedural infractions. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be fooled. It was Keith Christopher Rowley who warned this country of the several scandals which resulted in our esteem being lowered regionally and internationally, so that today, Transparency International rates us as number 85 on the ladder of 175 corrupt countries. Number 85. It was really amazing to me that at the meeting in Debe last night, it was to me like a rum shop meeting. When a government minister could stoop so low and make those disgusting and derogatory and nasty remarks about our political leader, about the opposition leader, then I have to say that that was a disgusting meeting. And the Prime Minister herself was lackluster, unconvincing, incoherent, and a shameless display passing for leadership. Tonight, I would like to take this opportunity to recommend a national award for the UNC handlers and PR team for appropriately naming their meetings the Monday Night for Rum. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, I urge you not to be distracted by the queen of divisiveness and her merry band of followers. This is one case when she can no longer come out smelling like a rose. She is to be blamed for the mess in which we currently find ourselves. Like the former dancehall queen Patra, she is the queen of the pack, and she must be held accountable for it. In the same way that the electorate held Patrick Manning accountable for the work, good and bad, of the last administration, so too the electorate must hold Kamla Prasad Bisesa accountable for the work of this administration. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. And ladies and gentlemen, in the same way that Kamla Prasad Bisesa is a creation of her handlers, her spin doctors, and her propagandists, so too is this entire episode concerning comments made by the political leader when he addressed the crowd in Brazil Village last week. Comments that any Tobagonian, and indeed any Trinidadian, or any true participant in the cultural landscape of our country would easily recognize as normal Trinidad and Tobago parlance. And it has now been lifted out of the ordinary and clothed with a level of importance and grandeur, like the Prime Minister, which it certainly does not deserve. With nothing left in their arsenal to attack Dr. Rowley. And remember, they are on the attack, and I quote for you, from Rodney Charles, sent to various UNC bloggers and ministers, including Suruj Rambachan, Vasan Bharath, Garvin Nicholas, and High Commissioner to Canada, Philip Boxo. I quote, and I said this before, quote, "We propose launching a full-scale attack on Keith Rowley. We absolutely need to bring down his poll ratings. We are therefore asking you and all our supporters in whatever way you can to be part of that attack. Always refer to him as Rowley, not Dr. Keith Rowley. Try also to have short song bites that speak to his negatives. His name should be side by side with the negative. For example, Rowley is unfit to lead. He is too arrogant. He does not entertain views different from his. The central theme of our attack should be Keith Rowley, by his acknowledged arrogance, dictatorial attitudes, and past behavior, is temperamental and unsuited for the role of the Prime Minister. Keith Rowley in the PNM internal elections has articulated no policies on health, escalating crime, income inequality, and rising poverty and youth alienation. Keith Rowley has shown himself unable to be a team player, and in a party historically characterized by strict internal discipline, he led a mutiny. And they went on and on. Let us, in our various ways, do what we have to do to start putting Keith Rowley on the defensive. He has shown himself unable to weather sustained attacks. He becomes angry and, in effect, a raging bull. Keith Rowley has been unable to weather sustained attacks. Keith Christopher Rowley, the man who has been under attack since 2010 when he assumed leadership, and today he is the predominant political leader of any party in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that Keith Rowley, when he spoke about she could do this, she could do that, she could drink this, she could drink that. Why didn't talk about that? Why didn't talk about she could drink this, she could drink that? Was it the truth? Okay. Let me. I'm afraid y'all, if I take a drink on that, y'all might say I'm drinking something. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you of where that quote comes from. Look at here. Dictionary of the English Creole of Trinidad and Tobago. Page 495, under the rubric, Kill Dog. A threat of retaliation or revenge. Usually in full, if you kill my dog, I will kill your cat. Tit for tat, butter for fat. If you kill my dog, I will kill your cat. Dictionary of the English Creole of Trinidad and Tobago. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a fact. So when Vanilla and Delman couldn't tell them to keep quiet on this issue, Vanilla, who says that she is an entomologist, and you know what is an entomologist, eh? They know the root of words and phrases. Why she didn't tell them? That is a Tobagonian thing, Kamala. Don't make an issue of that. Pull Kamala aside and have a sober conversation with her. Ladies and gentlemen, it is all a plan. But let me warn you, the plan does not stop there. If we are to believe Jaishima Laladar Singh, the one who Botiwari was forced to fire from the CDA board, people like Vanilla and Delman are of no worth in the cabinet of Kamla Prasad Bisesa. No one takes them on. And I ask you, what about people like Gypsy? What about people like Errol McLeod? What about people like Clifton Decoto, Rupert Griffith? They, I say, are of no value to the UNC. And I ask tonight if the new leader of NJAC, Senator Mutema, is in agreement with what is going on in the UNC. Ladies and gentlemen, take this seriously. The issue of race relations in Trinidad and Tobago has always been a tricky and touchy one, and has caused many a prime minister to remark on how difficult it is to govern Trinidad and Tobago. But this government has made no attempt to hide its strategy of divisiveness. How else does one consider the Prime Minister's comments during the 2013 Chaguanas West by-election, when she said and chastised Avinash Singh for accepting the PNM nomination, and she told her audience that the PNM had taken one of their own and they needed to fight against the PNM. Was this not a blatant act of racism? How else does one explain her silence when, in response to thousands who marched against Section 34, Jack Warner, her then blue-eyed boy, asked, where were the Indians in the march? Was that not a blatant use of the race card? How else does one explain the Prime Minister's questioning of Dr. Rowley's attendance at a Diwali Nagar event to which he was invited? How else does one explain the utterances and derogatory remarks hurled against Dr. Rowley for his appearance in San Fernando in Kalicharan's band? How else does one explain the strident voices of groups when nothing was said? And Dr. Rowley commented on Dr. Munilal calling women bags of aloo. Where was Stacey Rupnarine and the voice of the women when Ganga Singh was claiming he was dropping pipe in Kamla's constituency, causing the now Prime Minister to tell the world about Ganga Singh's pipe and Bisesa's pipe? Ladies and gentlemen, I know that we are more intelligent than they want to make us think we are. We were educated by the People's National Movement. There is one thing that the PNM understands very well. Whenever the electorate perceive that we are going off course, they put us back on track. In 1986, we lost 33-3. In 1995, we lost again. And on each occasion, it was some of the traditional PNM seats that voted us out. So when they say to us that in 2010, we use the race card, tell them that the 12 or 13 seats that the UNC always wins never shifts from the UNC. Never. So when people call the PNM sycophants, remind them that the persons who change the government are the PNM supporters when the PNM is going off track. I want to suggest to the Prime Minister tonight, as I come close to the end of my discourse with you, that she should stop drinking. In fact, she should stop drinking tea for other people's fever. That's what I meant, huh? She should instead come to the Parliament to debate serious issues and not waste parliamentary time by coming to the Parliament to move a vote of no confidence in our political leader. She should come to the Parliament to bring legislation to have a permanently appointed Commissioner of Police. Legislation to have the Caribbean Court of Justice become the final court of appeal for Trinidad and Tobago. She should come to the Parliament to effectively protect children and women in Trinidad and Tobago. Kamla Persad-Bissessar should come to the Parliament to bring the country up to date on live sport, the new flying squad, Prison Gate, the First Citizens IPO scandal. Tell us, Kamla, how much money was really spent to get out of the contract with the OPVs? How did files from the judiciary end up in Attorney Gerald Ramdeen's office? Who authorized the recent payments to Tiger Capital? Every day it's a new scandal in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister is silent on all of these issues. She is as silent as if cat got her tongue. But ladies and gentlemen, I must put the cat among the pigeons and at the same time let the cat out of the bag. Because you all know Kamla's history. You knew Kamla's history before she became Prime Minister. And you still bought cat in bag. Kamla's history reminds us that she is the one who has consistently been against women. She is the one whose legacy will tell us that she talked about Trinidad and Tobago not being an ATM machine. She is the one who said she wouldn't support the CCJ because there were not enough Indians. She is the one who was silent when Anand Ramlogan stated in the Parliament that Marlene MacDonald needed a manpower audit. She is the one who was silent when Prakash Ramadar stated that those women who stood outside the Parliament in the Constitution amendment matter were a mob, and that according to his analysis, that's Prakash Ramadar, we were, and I'm quoting, we were attracted there by Rowley. We cursed, We attacked people physically. We attacked democracy. This core group included the young and the old, blue collar and white collar, analysts, academics, working and unemployed people, entrepreneurs, NGO activists, and unattached individuals, men and women from across the country, all protesting the absence of consultation on the bill's runoff position. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, these women who, in the letter of the day of Sunday, 22nd March 2015, asked Prakash Ramadar, who's assaulting whom, Mr. Ramadar? They said, we, the core group of 30-odd citizens, formed out of that experience of democracy on the waterfront, have named ourselves a simple majority, affirming our quest for people's participation in governance and our resistance to the abuse of political power by this or any future government. And that simple majority comprises Sheila Rampasad, Merle Hodge, Jamelia Reed Cato, Natasha Nunez Sinclair, Attila Springer, Kirk Waith, Jackie Burgess, Folade Motota, Niasa Pear, and Akins Vidal. Kamla, talk to us about this. Trying to change the Constitution overnight. And Kamla, it is you who has been the worst on women than any other prime minister in Trinidad and Tobago. In the largest cabinet ever, there are only 3 female cabinet ministers. The last PNM cabinet boasted 8 female ministers. In both the House of Representatives and the Senate, the chief whip and the leader of opposition business in the Senate are females. Kamla Prasad Bisesa's body count of females has been the impaling of Therese Baptiste Cornelis, Nan Ramgulam, Verna St. Rose Graves, Chrislyn Moore, Nicole Dyer Griffith, Lindira Udit, Carolyn Prasad, Sipasad Bechan, all either in the political cemetery or the walking dead politically. All because of Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, we tell you tonight with Keith Rowley, what you see is what you get. Take him at face value. He is open and honest, does not hide his feelings or pretend. We know who he is. Does this country know who you really are? You, the mama of Mama Guy. You, the mocking pretender. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, be honest. Tell us your views on corruption. We know Keith Rowley's views. Tell us your views on integrity in public life. We know Keith Rowley's views. Tell us your views on domestic violence. We know Keith Rowley's views. Tell us your views on drug abuse. Tell us your views on debauchery. Tell us your views on drunkenness. Keith Rowley calls a spade a spade. We know him as a no-nonsense man who lets the chips fall where they may. It was Keith Rowley who defended Anna Dionarine from the scurrilous attacks of the former Attorney General, whilst Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the women remained silent. It was Keith Rowley who defended Asha Javid when she was verbally battered and threatened by government ministers on TV. It was Keith Rowley who defended Marlene MacDonald when Annan Ramlogan stated in Parliament that she, as I said before, needed a manpower audit. Tell us, Kamala, what are your views on these issues? Kamala, no amount of cover-up will stop the truth about you, because we all know your truth. We know your truth, and the time is coming when you will not only talk about, as a people, how outrageous leadership, but whenever general elections are called, you will get the chance to vote wisely. Vote, ladies and gentlemen, for good governance. Vote for integrity in public life. Vote for love of country. Say no. No. No more to incompetence. No more to nepotism and favoritism. No more to corruption. No more to wastage of taxpayers' money. No more insincerity and deception. No more lack of vision. And all these no's are what we know about Keith Rowley, because I'm quoting from his speech. No more missteps. No more mismanagement of foreign exchange. No more false CVs and bogus qualifications. No more cushy jobs in state enterprises for unqualified friends and family. No more constitutional amendments that are designed for partisan advantage. No more neglect of the judiciary. No more playing political games with the police. No more lies. No more of this pernicious UNC government. And we must consign them forever to the rubbish heap of our political history. No more government by deception. We must vote for good government. Vote for integrity in public life. Vote for love of our country. Vote for the PNM. Vote to make Keith Christopher Rowley the 7th Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Vote to ensure that Magnum est PNM et prevelabit. Magnum est PNM et prevelabit. Magnum est PNM et prevelabit. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM, and we shall prevail. Thank you. God bless you.